Everywhere excitement flared as entertainment was prepared. Leonardo, the governor of the town, was there to greet these men of renown. Hero, his daughter, stood by his side. The thrill in her heart could not be denied. Beatrice, his niece, was also close by. A look of pleasure sparkled in her eyes. As sounds of approaching horses grew loud, a rousing cheer echoed throughout the crowd. Yay! Don Pedro, Prince of Aragon, was in the lead, riding proud on his dappled steed. Benedict of Padua was next, they spied, with Count Claudio of Florence by his side. Don John, the prince's brother, was the last to appear, and with his attendants brought up the rear. The prince dismounted without delay.
Leonardo, have you come for trouble today?
He gave the governor a hearty embrace. Leonardo smiled.
Not trouble, but comfort, your grace.
This is your daughter,
Leonardo, I think this is your daughter.
said the prince, bowing low. Leonardo laughed.
Your mother has many times spoken so.
Benedict smirked.
Was there a doubt in your mind?
To Beatrice, this exchange was becoming unkind. She thought Benedict was obnoxious and rude and disliked his behavior and attitude.
Still talking, Senior Benedict. No one listens to you.
And a heated argument began to brew. Whenever they met, these two struck the wrong chord, and their stinging insults could not be ignored. Benedict's remark was no less forgiving.
What, my dear lady, disdain? Are you yet living? Is it possible?
Beatrice sneered and let out a sigh.
With Senior Benedict, mock disdain should die.
Benedict bragged.
I am loved of all ladies, except one, for truly
He continued.
I love none.
Beatrice countered each insult, blow for blow.
I'd rather hear my dog bark at a crow than a man swear he loves me or be so inclined.
Benedict jeered.
Keep your ladyship in that frame of mind. I would that my horse at the speed of your tongue.
He taunted.
I know all your tricks.
She replied, undaunted. Don Pedro interrupted.
Leonardo, Augustus is stay. We'll remain here for a month, starting from today.
Then to Leonardo's the royal group departed. Claudio remained with Benedict, feeling lighthearted.
My friends.
Claudio exclaimed, his eyes aglow.
Did you take note of Leonardo's daughter, Hero? She's the sweetest lady that I ever looked on.
He sighed.
I see no such matter.
Senior Benedict cried.
Her cousin Beatrice did not hold such a rage. She'd outshine Hero on any stage. Claudio, your mind's in a haze. Leonardo's daughter's too short and tiny for such praise. Would you butter my friend? Now don't be a fool.
Claudio sighed.
Can the world buy such a jewel?
This lovesick behavior put Benedict in his stew.
I hope you have no intent to think husband, have you?
Claudio persisted.
I want you in my life. I marry her to be my wife.
Benedict turned up his nose in disgust.
Come to this, you should readjust. Claudio, can't you see you're acting insane? Will I never see a bachelor of 30 again?
Just then, Don Pedro returned from Spain.
Why didn't you follow me to Leonardo?
Benedict replied.
Well, you can't Grace.
Wasn't your delay.
Claudio's love, foolish man. To marry Hero is his ludicrous plan.
The lady of most words.
Don Pedro replied. Benedict rolled his eyes and continued to jibe.
You think she's worthy? I disagree. These fire cannot burn out of me.
Don Pedro gave Benedict a playful shove.
I shall see thee before I die.
With anger, with hunger, with sickness, my lord.
Benedict began.
Not with love.
He roared. Don Pedro chuckled.
These thoughts will revoke, for soon you'll be a target for many a joke.
I will trust no one.
Benedict began.
I shall always stay a single man.
Then to Leonardo's, Benedict took his leave to confirm their attendance at supper that eve. Claudio turned to Don Pedro and implored.
Ask Leonardo where she's from, my lord? No one but Hero. She's full the air. If you love her, Claudio, will you not despair? Dearest Hero, if your feelings are true, shall comfort the lady and her father too. I welcome your help.
Claudio replied.
With my word, she might be dissatisfied. At court, I didn't have more skill.
So the prince offered a plan of his own free will.
To make you like the Hero's eyes, out of the party, if you try to be dying, Claudio said, then with passion and or I'll ask you when. When I bring your smart with my cutting design, I'll speak with mother and then she'll come.
While Claudio wished good luck to his master, there was another who craved Don Pedro's disaster. This man, so angry and withdrawn, was the prince's half-brother, the sullen Don John. On opposite sides in the war they had fought, Don John the loser was very distraught. He despised the prince victorious in war and desperately wanted to settle the score. Conrad, his follower, offered Don John advice.
Conceal your feelings, or you'll pay the price. I'd rather be a canker in a hedge
Don John sneered.
than a rose in his Shakespeare beer. I am a plain dealing villain, so let me. I cannot hide where I am. Seek not to know.
As Don John paced and continued to fume, another of his followers entered the room. Horatio announced,
I have overheard a secret plan between Claudio and his right-hand man.
It looks like squid, said Claudio.
Don John sneered in reply.
Tell me, Horatio, who has caught his eye?
It is Hero, the governor's daughter.
He said.
The prince will act the lover, so Claudio may be wed.
Don John snickered.
This information I can use. It has fueled my desire, not money. He took all the glory in the last campaign, but I'll make sure his triumph is full. Come now.
Don John implored. Conrad entered before them both.
This, my lord.
Meanwhile, at Leonardo's, a dance would soon commence. For the guest's arrival, everyone waited in suspense.
It's not Don John here at supper.
Leonardo began. Antonio, the governor's brother, said.
I did.
Beatrice interrupted.
Don John always looks so sour. I never can see him, but I'm clever in 4 hours.
Hero agreed.
Melancholy, he is inclined.
Then Beatrice droned on about marriage and mankind.
Don John is like a painting picture and says nothing at all. Then there's Benedict, who started dragging up the wall. Midway between the two of different names.
Leonardo warned.
Niece, we'll never have a date. Mr. Sharpton, how can you hope to be a bride? I never wish to marry.
She sternly replied.
Each day I get my blessing that this remains the case. With my luck, I'd get another beard on his face.
Then came. Then came the sound of fanfare and everyone cheered. They all donned their masks as the revelers appeared. While the music played, they paired up, 2 by 2. Behind their disguises, no one knew who was who. Don Pedro wooed Hero with loving words so sweet, and proposed for Claudio so the deed would be complete. Ursula, Hero's servant, was dancing to and fro with Leonardo's brother, the old Antonio. And Margaret, another maid, was whisked off her feet by the unknown fellow who was swaying to the beat. Benedict, standing near, watched the scene unfold. Then he approached a lady in a manner bold. It was his rival Beatrice, hidden in disguise. Behind their masks, they stared into each other's eyes. To avoid detection, he altered his speech and changed his tone into a high screech.
I overheard a conversation.
He began to wail.
They say Beatrice is calling her to come to sale.
Will you not tell me who you are?
No.
Benedict replied as his voice soared.
And we told you that.
Beatrice continued in a huff.
I'll bet it's Benedict. You know him well enough.
Benedict muttered.
You'll have to pardon me. I did not know this man, Benedict.
See, but he's the prince's gesture. A very real fool. His only skill is contriving slander and ridicule.
Benedict burned with rage and felt his face turn red.
Pardon me, Tim.
He replied.
I'll tell him what you said.
Do.
Beatrice scoffed.
But I can foresee Benedict will come to joke about me.
Then Beatrice motioned him with a sideways glance.
Come, as well as the leaders of the dance.
Claudio knew nothing of this consequence. As the dancers dispersed, he waited in suspense. Don John and Horatio watched him pacing in a trance. To avenge the count, this was now their perfect chance. He approached Claudio but called him Benedict.
I'm worried.
Don John lied.
The princess loves him. She's going for here.
Claudio's face grew pale and lost all its mirth.
How do you know he loves her?
Claudio cried.
I heard about he married her.
Horatio replied. When the two departed, Claudio was enraged.
Don Pedro quotes for himself. I've been upstage. If I love no friend can be trusted. Farewell, therefore, hero.
In her he was disgusted. A few moments later, as Claudio was pacing, Senior Benedict arrived with some news for him.
Hi, honey.
Claudia, is that you?
Benedict declared.
The princess got your hero.
Benedict declared.
I wish him joy with her.
Claudio glared.
What's your problem?
Benedict asked in dismay.
Do you feel the princess mistreated you in some way?
But the prince's good deeds the count would not believe, and in an angry frenzy, Claudio turned to leave.
Poor her foe.
Said Benedict when he stood alone. Then he thought of Beatrice.
Her words I cannot condone. I wonder if she knew it was me in disguise. Did she speak in jest, to ridicule and chastise? Or was she unaware that she meant the words she spoke? Does she really think I'm such a joke? That princess jester. Ha! I am not so reputed. These are her bitter words. It must be disputed.
Just then the prince appeared.
Hero's father has a grace. I must tell Claudio. His wedding will proceed.
Benedict replied.
My friend thinks he's been deceived. I told him she consented, but I was not believed.
Don Pedro interrupted.
Hero loves him truly, but the lady Beatrice has a quarrel with you.
Benedict groaned.
Oh, she cannot be endured. Beatrice speaks daggers that will never be cured. She dared to call me the princess jester. I tell you, Don Pedro, I really detest her.
The prince chuckled.
Here she comes, my friend.
Benedict exclaimed.
Command me to the world's end.
The sight of Beatrice filled him with dread, and with a hasty goodbye, Benedict quickly fled.
I brought the count as was your command.
Don Pedro inquired.
Claudio, why is that? What's wrong with you?
But this faulty notion Beatrice tried to dispel.
The count is neither sad, nor sick, nor merry, nor well. He is jealous, and think you tricked him, my lord.
Claudio, your beliefs are false.
The prince deplored.
I learned how to make him was born, and the father has
Then Leonardo arrived with Hero by his side.
Count Claudio, take my sweet daughter for your bride.
The young man was speechless and knew not what to do.
Speak, Count.
Urged Beatrice.
He's your cue.
Claudio stammered.
Dear hero, my heart sore.
He promised.
Ladies, you're mine, I'm yours.
Beatrice prompted Hero.
Hero. Or if you cannot, stop the kiss. Give it your best shot.
Any thoughts of betrayal they would now replace, and soon the two were locked in a loving embrace. Don Pedro chuckled. Beatrice confided.
It keeps our apart. Everyone in the world has a mate but I. Good Lord, send me a husband by and by.
The prince interrupted with his own plea.
I know, how about me?
No, my lord, I was going to speak only in jest.
Don Pedro laughed.
Being married suits you best.
The prince gazed after Beatrice as she fled.
I was a spirited lady,
Don Pedro said.
but she will not consider her husband.
He declared.
What a girl. She mocks all her students.
Leonardo despaired. Don Pedro retorted.
We can give her a man in her life, her Benedict should excellent. each other mad.
But now a new scheme simmered in the prince's mind.
I'll need the help of you combined.
Leonardo and Claudio were eager as could be, and the lady hero said she would agree.
We'll start with Benedict.
Don Pedro began.
Come in with me, my friend. Listen to my
While Don Pedro's plot was being detailed, Don John was angry that his scheme had failed. He snarled.
Claudio's married, no.
Not a fight to cross it.
Horatio disagreed.
Well, disgrace, hero. Her servant is the key. Believe it told your lordship, Margaret is fond of me. I'll convince her to act in our little charade. She will play hero in our masquerade. At a lady's window, she standeth by request, and in hero's clothes, Margaret will be dressed. Her words of love to me shall all be part of the play. We'll pretend that she has fallen for another man. With the Prince and Claudio, you'll share hero's effects. On the eve of the wedding, they'll observe the evidence, believing in its hero, but think she is a cheat.
Don John sneered.
Of course.
Towards the wedding day, Benedict strolled in the orchard, his look far away.
I wonder if Claudio, the soldier so renowned, falls for the folly of love.
He frowned.
Affection shall never make me such a fool. I'd never submit to such ridicule.
Then Don Pedro, Leonardo, and Claudio he spied.
Ah, the prince and Monsieur
For more talk of marriage, he was not keen, and behind the bushes, he hoped he'd be unseen. Benedict was unaware he'd already been sighted. The three men saw him hiding there and were excited. The prince spoke loudly and cut to the quick. Benedict was startled and sat up straight in shock. He began to quiver and his knees began to knock. When they glanced towards him, he dropped out of sight. Claudio whispered,
"There's the hotel, the special line."
Leonardo raised his voice.
That is the door. Carol says she rescued the precious. 20 times she done that night. This lad has been bestowed on me.
The prince replied.
Benedict's no perfection.
He cried. Claudio disagreed.
He loved her.
And then the three departed and went in for dinner. Benedict rose from hiding.
This can be no trick. They seem to pity the lady who is lovesick.
He felt his pulse quicken and his face began to burn.
Beatrice adores me. This lover must return.
Like a bolt of lightning, everything had changed. His ideas of marriage were now rearranged.
I shall be the butt of many a joke. My thoughts of matrimony I have long made clear. But shall this deter me?
He implored.
No! The world must be people!
Benedict roared.
Here comes Beatrice now.
His eyes opened wide.
I didn't think I spied some marks of loving her.
He cried. Beatrice spoke coldly, her voice sounding shrill.
I'm sent to summon you to dinner against my will.
Benedict beamed.
I thank you for your pains.
Beatrice glared.
I forget your grace. If it had been painful, I would have not come.
And then she stomped away, looking awfully glum.
Ha!
Laughed Benedict.
I know her technique. There's a double meaning in what she speaks. Her rough behavior is as transparent as glass. Our future together shall soon come to pass.
So Benedict was convinced by the little spoof, and Beatrice herself had provided the proof. Next, it was the lady's turn to change Beatrice's heart. Hero and his gentlewoman would each play a part. Cried Hero. Step one of the plan seemed to work like a breeze. Beatrice rushed to the orchard and hid behind the trees. At first they were whispering so she couldn't hear. Beatrice crept closer when the coast was clear. Ursula was speaking, and her words she could not miss.
My lady, are you sure that Benedict loves Beatrice?
Hero replied,
So said the prince and my fiancé. They begged me to inform Beatrice without delay. But I warned them that this idea would not be wise. No man deserves to scorn, I'm sure she would devise.
Ursula objected.
You must tell her before long. To refuse so rare a gentleman as Benedict is wrong.
Hero argued.
So turn she every man the wrong side out. Beatrice cannot love, that there is no doubt.
Then they lowered their voices, finished with their scowl. Ursula whispered,
We have caught her, madame. Suppose so.
said Hero.
Then nothing goes by half. Some kill with arrows, some with traps.
Beatrice was dazed as they disappeared from view.
What fire is in mine ears? Can this be true? Stand I condemned for pride and scorn so much.
She cried.
Could it be that Benedict wants me for his bride?
The passion in her heart she felt anew.
Contempt, farewell, and made a pride adieu.
Beatrice was overwhelmed by what she had learned.
Love on, Benedict, for your feelings shall be returned.
In Leonato's house, there was a jovial atmosphere. Everyone was excited as Hero's wedding day drew near. The sweet smell of perfume wafted through the air. Claudio teased.
That's from Benedict, I declare. Venus had a common fear. Look at him, Dr. Acting back here. The sweetest of love.
Claudio insisted.
I bet you think.
Benedict resisted. Then he turned to Leonato.
What do you want with me, sir?
As they laughed, Don Pedro said,
Beatrice, I declare.
but the mood of happiness quickly changed to gloom. Evil Don John entered the room. Claudio looked horrified. Don John stated, pretending distress. Claudio turned to the prince.
Could this be so? I will not think of it.
Protested Don Pedro.
If I see anything tonight,
Claudio sternly said.
tomorrow I'll shake Hero and we will not be wed.
The prince agreed with Claudio. Don John stated.
At midnight, we'll see you then.
With that he departed, followed for his love. Now each night in Messina, the police were in pursuit of those in town who were held in disrepute. Dogberry, the master constable, was in charge of his crew and demanded of his officers.
Are you good men and true?
He instructed them at length on their nightly protocol, as his befuddled group tried to understand it all.
George Siegel, since you can read right, you have the watch. And to my fellow constables, try not to offend. But if you meet a thief, this is what I recommend. The less you get involved, the better you will be. Let him show himself and allow him to go free. Call at all the alehouses and bid those drugs dead. If they will not leave, look the other way instead. And all those gentlemen, for their final tour, here will come the cross and guard me around the door.
And so the night watchman in the drizzling rain stood quiet as church mice on guard once again. It was then that they heard Baraccio bragging to a friend.
Conrad, stand closer, and you will comprehend. Hey, man,
Baraccio swaggered.
I put on quite a show.
He jingled coins in his pockets and swayed to and fro.
I've been celebrating.
He added with a smirk.
Don John gave me 1,000 gold ducats for my night's work, and I, like a true drunkard, will honor it all to thee.
The watch were now on tiptoe, straining to see.
And tonight, food bargains. I knew I would not fail. In Our Lady's balcony, she answered the heroes and wearing heroes' Claudio completely enraged. Tomorrow,
He smirked.
the wedding will be brief. It's time to share the sacred vows in church. Claudio will disgrace Hero and leave her.
Just then a loud voice bellowed in protest.
We charge when the princess came. We're under arrest.
The officers had heard Baracchio's every word. They were honest fellows and would not be deterred. The first watchman shouted,
Call up Godberry. We know what parents this is literary. Sorry,
Conrad tried to explain the fuss. The second watchman cried,
do not speak. Come with us.
The day of the wedding dawned bright and clear. Everyone was happy and bustling with good cheer. Beatrice was admiring Hero's gown when Ursula rushed in, her face in a frown.
I hope you know it's getting late. And Claudio's inside with friends to fetch the waiting bride.
In the next room, Hero's father was busy too. When Dogberry and his partner arrived for an interview. They came to inform him of two villains they had arrested, but chattered on so long that Leonardo protested.
I am now in great haste. You said you would be brief. Examine them yourself.
And then he fleed. As the hour drew near, the townsfolk gathered in delight. Hero, looking radiant, was a beautiful sight. Her dress was magnificent. Everyone was impressed. They sighed with pleasure at this union to be blessed.
Come,
Said Leonardo, looking proud,
in the ceremony.
and he smiled at the crowd. This was a precious moment in his daughter's life. Very soon the two would be husband and wife. The friar asked Claudio.
Do you already have become my lord?
Hero trembled with excitement. Her eyes were aglow. Claudio stared at her and firmly answered,
No.
Hero gasped in horror and began to shake. Leonardo cried. But Hero's father wondered if it really was a joke. The priest continued, though he too was aghast.
You know, do you take Claudio as your husband?
He asked.
I do.
Hero promised, her voice loud and clear. Claudio turned to her father with an angry sneer.
You and Green are constrained to give me this name? As Green is selling his class.
Convey.
Then take her back again.
Claudio fumed. He pushed Hero away.
Our wedding is due. Your blush is guiltiness, not modesty.
He roared. Leonardo was dazed.
This looks not like what?
Benedict said.
What's wrong with you, Claudio?
Hero cried in dread.
What man was he last night at your window?
He retorted.
Between 12 and 1 with whom you consorted.
I thought no man like that one.
Hero implored. Don Pedro interrupted.
That's a lie.
He roared.
I just said you went to the moonlight last night. I heard you speak words of love to a man last night.
Claudio cried.
Hero, most foul, most fair, farewell.
His cruel words to her sounded like a death knell. Hero tried to speak but could not make a sound. She staggered and then she slumped upon the ground. Claudio gazed at her but had no sympathy, then leapt at Don Pedro. So angry was he. Beatrice rushed to her dear cousin's side.
Hero is dead, I think.
She mournfully cried.
Help, Uncle.
She wailed.
This is so unjust.
In her cousin's honor, she had never lost trust. But Hero's father believed the evidence and would not speak in his daughter's defense. Leonardo raged.
Heroes flame. Death is the fairest cover for a shame. Do not live.
His fury intensified.
Oh, my soul.
Oh, Beatrice.
My cousin is belied.
But Hero's eyelids flickered and life was restored.
Have comfort, lady.
Friar Francis implored. Hero bowed. For a time, the friar had been observing the accused.
Leonardo, hear me. Your daughter's name is huge. The sweet and gentle lady said I have a plan. That is
Claudia smiled.
I have no doubt that Hero's will read and the truth will be out.
Then he turned to Hero.
Enjoy Englishman's skill.
He held out his hands.
Humbly,
As the friar led Leonardo and Hero away, Beatrice and Benedict were left alone that day. Benedict was gentle with the lady for whom he longed.
Surely I do believe that your dear sweet cousin is wrong.
Beatrice was weeping.
Hero speaks the truth. How much I owe the man who offers proof.
Benedict drew closer to the lady he admired.
Is there any way to show such friendship?
He inquired.
For I do love nothing in this world so much as you. And by my sword, Beatrice, I believe you love me too.
And though it took some prodding, Beatrice finally confessed.
I love you with so much of my heart that none is left to protest.
Benedict smiled.
I'll do anything you command.
Hero Claudio.
Beatrice firmly demanded.
What? Not for the whole wide world.
Claudio's proof is unfounded. Sweet Hero, she is wrong. She is slandered. She is undone.
Benedict tried to stop her, but she turned to run.
Enough!
Exclaimed Benedict, his face looking grim.
I am engaged.
He cried.
I will challenge him.
Now throughout Messina, the sad news quickly spread that Leonardo's daughter, the Lady Hero, was dead. In the city's jail, the hour was getting late, as Horatio and Conrad awaited their fate. The interview with Dogberry seemed to take all day. The town clerk interrupted, wanting to have his say.
Master Constable, let's get to the offense. Call forth the watch to present the evidence.
And so the sordid details were finally related. The clerk who was recording them became agitated.
Let these men be bound and brought to Leonardo's place. The governor must be informed. This is a disgrace.
Meanwhile, Senior Leonardo, aged 3. Nothing could bring him comfort and relief. The friar had convinced him Hero was not to blame, and now her stricken father was filled with shame. Just then, Don Pedro and Claudio drew nigh. The old man raised his sword with a battle cry.
Thou hast wronged mine innocent child. I'm forced to forget my age and challenge thee.
Then Antonio, his brother, jumped into the fray.
Thou now thou my niece, and you. Away!
Shouted Claudio, his honor offended. The prince added,
Let this fight be ended.
as Leonardo and Antonio withdrew, Senior Benedict strode quickly into view. Don Pedro joked.
It would be quite a sight.
Benedict's face took on a sickly pallor.
In a false quarrel, there is no true valor. You have among you extended innocent life, and your brother Don John from Messina has fled. Claudia, our dispute is long overdue. You are a villain, and I challenge you. Meet me when you dare.
And then he stormed away. Cried Don Pedro in dismay. At that moment, a parade of men drew near. Why two were in chains was not at first clear. Don Pedro was stunned.
My brother's men are bound? What is the cause of their defense?
Constable Dogberry replied in a manner grand, but as usual, his explanation was hard to understand. So the prince appealed to Horatio instead, but what he had to say filled Don Pedro with dread. Horatio was contrite and answered on bended knee.
Sweet prince, listen and let this count guilty. It was Margaret at the window. Sweet hero.
Horatio cried.
Sweet hero never lied.
Then he admitted everything to the last detail.
The lady is dead upon mine and my master's betrayal.
Claudio shuddered and his heart began to horror spread across Don Pedro's face. The words of confession rushed upon him like a flood.
Claudio, run out this speed like hundreds of your blood.
It's as though I drank poison when we spoke.
He replied, and for the first time Claudio saw the error of his pride. To his sweet hero he'd been so heartless and unjust. His ego and his honor had overwhelmed his trust. Leonardo returned into view. The town clerk had revealed the facts, now proven true. Hero's father demanded.
Which is the one I despise? Come now.
He shouted angrily.
Let me see his eyes.
Horatio was repentant.
I do not disagree. You would know your wronger. Look on me.
Leonardo charged.
You killed my innocent child.
I do not deny it. I and I alone.
No, not so, villain.
Leonardo exclaimed.
Claudio and Don Pedro must also be blamed. I will thank you all to my final breath. You are responsible for my daughter's death.
Claudio cried.
Choose your revenge for my cure. Whatever penance you decide I will endure.
Don Pedro exclaimed.
That's my guilt too. How can I make amends to you? Proclaim my daughter's innocence.
Leonardo replied.
Let the people of this hill know the truth of how she died. Tonight, here.
Claudio bowed.
To your merciful offer I agree. Your kindness doth turn to me.
And so that evening, on Hero's behalf, Claudio delivered a touching epitaph. Then he hung the scroll and bid her good night, promising merely to repeat the rite. The hours passed as hymns were played, and tears were shed for their hero betrayed. Don Pedro sighed. Meanwhile, Leonardo's joy could not be denied. His daughter once again filled him with pride. Antonio smiled. Then Leonardo shared the last of his design.
Hero and you gentlemen all, withdraw and return the belt when I call.
As the ladies departed, he continued to advise.
Antonio shall present my daughter. Hero, you will think it's your daughter.
He added with a grin.
Within the hour will begin.
Benedict interrupted.
I need some assistance to bind me around you. Do you understand?
Leonardo asked, and what is your desire?
What is your desire?
To marry Beatrice, lady I admire.
My heart is with your life.
Leonardo agreed and Byron nodded.
A double wedding will proceed. Here, Mary.
Claudio arrived with Don Pedro by his side. Leonardo looked serious and dignified. He inquired of the Count.
Count Claudio, are you resolved to wed?
Our will is absolute.
Claudio promptly said. It was then that the ladies appeared on cue. Behind veils, their faces hidden from view. Claudio wondered.
Which one is to be my bride?
Don't give me the one that I want to be my daughter.
was in her eyes. Claudio pleaded.
No, not yet.
Leonardo quickly interceded.
That you shall not
Claudio knelt before her and delivered his plea.
Not a better one.
I'm your help at this
Better one.
Leonardo's daughter slowly raised her veil, revealing her face in every beautiful detail.
Another hero!
Claudio gasped in delight. He was amazed by this wondrous sight.
The former dear.
Cried Don Pedro.
That overwhelmed
Leonardo said.
I will be explained, but first the chapel so these two can be united.
Pardon me,
Cried Benedict.
something is amiss.
He surveyed the other ladies.
One is Beatrice.
I answer to that name. What is your will?
Benedict inquired.
Do you not love me still?
Why no? No more than reason.
She cried as she unveiled.
Benedict, do you not love me?
Beatrice wailed.
No, no more than reason.
Benedict's mind was in a blur.
Nonsense!
Cried Claudio.
He has a son of Betty Rover.
Hero interrupted.
We're on hands against our hearts.
Benedict laughed in bliss, then they sealed their love with a tender kiss. Benedict grinned.
Don Pedro, you need a new lease on life.
Then he tipped his hat.
Get a wife? I say, get a wife.
Now Beatrice vowed she read to say